good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chef Alan Cochrane, and today I'm going to be baking a cake for you, and I've chosen to bake for you what is known as a nettle sponge. So the first thing you have to get is a nettle, and nettles are in some ways edible, but for this particular nettle sponge, I've had to extract some nettle extract, which you will find you can get if you grind down the nettle and boil it thoroughly for about 3 hours. Anyway, nettle extract. Now I'm going to make my sponge based on Delia Smith, that famous chef lady, and she tells me that what I need is self-raising flour, 8 ounces or 220 grams, the same amount of granulated sugar, and where have they gone? 4 eggs. Doesn't matter if they're white ones or brown ones. 4 eggs. A touch of vanilla extract. And I also need about 8 ounces, 220 grams of margarine. So I'm going to mix these together. I've already mixed my flour and my sugar and 1 or 2 other ingredients here. So I'm going to get going with that, and I will rejoin you in a few moments. So here we are again, and I'm mixing my eggs in at the moment into my mixture. I've already put the nettle extract into the cake mix, and so here it is over here. I hope you can see it. So I shall put a couple more eggs into the mix. A white one, and a brown one. And I cheat a little bit. I use a cake mix to whisk it all together. Now I've got my oven heating up a bit. And Delia tells me that it needs to go to, wait a minute, 400 and 500 and something. The oven wants to be at a hot oven, well, it's not too bad, 170 degrees, gas mark 3, 325 Fahrenheit, 170 degrees. And she tells me also I've got to prepare 2 7-inch cake tins because I'm going to make a sponge sandwich. I have greased them with margarine, so they're almost ready for my mix. So let's get on to the next step. Here's my mix already frothed up using the electric whisk for the sponge mix, and here are my 2 cake tins, and I'm going to make it in 2 halves because I'm going to fill this sponge eventually with something else. So there goes my nettle mix into the cake tins, and it will soon be ready for the oven. Oven's now at 170, and here goes the first cake tin into the oven. And so I will be back shortly to make the filling for my cake tin, my nettle sponge rather. So here I am down near the oven watching to see how my sponge is getting on. Can you see them in the oven now? Green nettle sponges, they're coming along nicely. Well, you've had a look at my sponge mixes in the oven, and they're doing well at the moment. They're rising beautifully. They take about half an hour, and they've been in for 20 minutes now, and I've been preparing the filling. And the filling I'm going to use is green marmalade. Only has to be green, doesn't it? And I'm going to top the sponge with green coconut. And a good reason for that, of course, is that it's well known that in Spain, nettles grow profusely around the orange trees, from where we get our marmalade. And in Singapore, where the coconut palms grow, nettles grow around the coconut palms as well. Okay, well, I'm just going to wait for my sponges to be ready before I take them out the oven. I have to let them cool for a bit before I extract them from the tins, and then I'll show you what happens after that. Well, here I am back in the kitchen. My sponges are ready. You can see it's a dangerous game baking sponges. You're likely to get covered in marmalade and filling, and if nothing else, flour. Anyway, my sponges are out of the oven now. Here they are. And I'm going to put in the nettle filling next. Or nettle marmalade. So, green marmalade. There we go. That should make it nice and tasty. I don't want to put too much in, otherwise it squidges out of the side, doesn't it? And having done that, I'm going to lay one half on top of the other. There we are. And I shall now put my topping on. So that was the green coconut from, where did I say? Singapore? No, Sri Lanka? No, Malaysia. On the top. So there's my sponge. I trust you can see it. And it wouldn't be complete without its nettle. That's been great to show you how to make a nettle sponge. So bye-bye for now, everyone. Bye-bye.
Welcome to Bowman Bakes. We put the Bowman in your baking. Today we'll be making fairy cakes with a twist. For the basic fairy cake mix, you will need 4 ounces of sugar, 4 ounces of butter, 2 eggs, 4 ounces of flour, 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder. And you want to preheat the oven to gas mark 6, and when you put it in, you want to put it in for 15 to 20 minutes. Let's mix! After you've finished mixing. Then you should line a baking tray and start filling it with cake mixture. Put them in the oven for 15 to 20 minutes. This is what they'll look like when they're out of the oven. Now time to decorate. This is the final result. And here is the twist. Inside are the seeds that fell in the good soil. Find out more in Matthew 13, 1-9.
Right, today we will be making toad in the hole. I have my milk, 200 millilitres of it in fact. I've got 4 eggs. Well, I've got 6, but and I've got 200 grams of plain flour, which has been measured, so it's right. We've also got 24 sausages, which will be mixed with vegetable oil right now. The first thing that we will be doing is making the batter. So we're going to measure out 200 milliliters of milk. So let's get
This is going to be a long video.
There we go. Next, we'll be adding seasoning to the flour. So we'll just get some pepper in. And we're also going to get some salt. So just a pinch. So we'll put it on my hand and I'll pinch and sprinkle it on. Quickly get rid of it. Next, we will be adding the 4 eggs. Let's hope this goes well.
Take off the weighing scales if you like. 1.
Let's take it off the weighing scales with 2. Shut up. 3. And 4. Just quickly, obviously, wash my hands. Next thing we will be doing is we shall stir it. But as we stir it, we shall gently add the milk. Let's see if I can remember how to do this. Oh no. Get all that flour in. Now we should be putting the sausages in the oven. The oven, well, for a fan oven at least, will be preheated at 200 degrees Celsius and will stay at that temperature. So we'll fine. So we'll open it up, yeah. We'll put them in there until they start to colour. Here's my Bible verse that says basically I can eat pig. It's part of the letter from St. Paul. It's Romans chapter 14 verse 2. It says, one person's faith allows them to eat anything, but another, whose faith is weak, eats only vegetables. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to open the oven. We're going to pull the tray of sausages onto the oven door. We're going to pour the batter in as quickly as possible, and then quickly, obviously scoop it all out so we get as much in there as possible, and then quickly close it again so that it doesn't lose too much heat. So here we go. Steam. Okay, back in. Oh. Oh. There we go. And alas, we come to the end. I'm now going to retrieve the toad in the hole and place it on these 2 mats for safety. Just wait for the steam to get. Oh, and this is what it should look like. I don't need, and just to finish up this video, I don't need people to ask people to vote for me because the evidence, well, it speaks for itself, doesn't it?
Hi, I'm starting my entry in the garden because I want to show you a little tree that I've got growing here. This is it. I don't know if you know what it is. It's got quite big leaves, and actually in hot countries people like sitting under its shade. There it is, have another look at it. And here. And in fact it's a fig tree. And my entry is going to be making a very special dessert with figs. Now there are lots of verses about figs in the Bible, but the one I particularly like is in Micah chapter 4, verse 4. And this is what it says. Every man will sit under his own vine and under his own fig tree. I'm sure that means every woman as well. And no one will make them afraid, for the Lord the Almighty has spoken. Now Micah was a prophet in the Old Testament. In fact, he's the last of the prophets that we have in our Old Testament. Very short book. And this chapter begins by telling us that what he's talking about is in the last days. So he's talking about the time after his own day, when the Messiah will come, when Jesus will come and begin his reign. But he's talking too about the time when Jesus will return again and finally bring peace and harmony to this world. But I'm sure too that what we can apply it to ourselves, that what he's talking about for us has meaning, that if we trust in the Lord, that he will give us good and special things. Now, sometimes life may be hard, but we can depend on his faithfulness. So this is a special dessert to remind us of special promises. You can see I've got some figs here that are much riper than the little green ones that you saw on my tree. And what I've done is I've cut them, not completely through, almost into quarters, but just keep them together. And then in a pan I've melted down a small amount of unsalted butter. There's about 16-17 grams, and I've put in a little bit of vanilla sugar, just a shake, and about 1/3 teaspoon of cinnamon. And what I'm going to do is just give it a stir. And then I'm going to drizzle this syrup over the figs. And I'm going to stick them in a hot oven of about 200 degrees in a fan oven for 10 minutes. But if you like, you could do it under a grill. And if you haven't got vanilla sugar, you could use caster sugar or any sugar, and just, if you have some vanilla, add a little drop of that as well. So I'll put them in the oven now, and then I'll show you the end result. Now I've just got the figs out of the oven, and you can see they're just gently roasted, just turning slightly brown, nice and soft. And I'm going to serve them with ice cream, but you could have them with yogurt or fromage frais or creme fraiche or mascarpone or anything that you like. And you notice that I've put some nuts on top. Again, you could put anything you liked on top. I've put some pistachios. I thought that there weren't pistachios mentioned in the Bible, but in fact there are. In Genesis 43, I was really surprised to find that Jacob, when he's trying to gain the favour of Joseph, who he doesn't know is his son, but he wants to buy food from the Egyptians, sends a whole lot of presents down to Joseph, and in the presents are pistachios. So pistachios help to make this a very special dessert, not something you'd eat every day. Figs are around at the moment, and you may be able to find them on offer, but normally figs are expensive in our supermarkets. So it's a special dessert to remind us that God gives us good things to enjoy, and that wonderful promise in Micah chapter 4, that every man will sit under his own vine and under his own fig tree.
And we will be making a star pancake to represent Jesus' birthday, Christmas, when the wise men found the star and followed it. The star went to the top of Jesus' stable where he was getting born, and they went in. So for this pancake, I will need flour, milk, and an egg. Wait, did you put that trick egg in there? Boo. I'll try to have that egg. Yes, do that egg. Thank you. Now, what you need to do is get your egg, get a bowl and crack it in. You only need one egg. And then put your egg somewhere. Now we need half a pint of milk. Put the milk in the measuring jug. There. Put that in the bowl.
It around.
Then we need the flour. We will need 120 grams of it. Then we need to mix it. Here you go. Remember how you twist that?
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to do that in a bowl? This is an old-fashioned one, so it might take a bit of time.
So, this is my pig pan. You draw on the line all the way.
and the ears, and then the snout, and then Peppa Pig's body. And this is my Peppa Pig pan.
Okay.
I hang it on my bedroom.
So, when I was making a Peppa Pig pancake for Robin, I had the idea you could do different things for pancake pans. So then we came up with the idea of cars, boats, and then a star. And so we're going to make a star one. So when you've finished your batter, making your batter, you need to pour it in a jug. If it's about to overfill, don't pour it all in. Then you can pour it into an empty tomato sauce bottle or something like this. So get it in.
Be careful, Lucas.
You can probably make about 4 pancakes with that. So it's quite good.
Shall I squeeze it into the Peppa Pig
No, I'll
pan?
do it.
Okay.
Okay, now we need to go over to the stove.
Squeeze on, squeeze.
It's coming.
1.
Now we've filled up our batter bottle. We need to turn on the stove, then put our pancake thing on.
Hey, Lucas. Lucas.
Let's go.
Lucas. Why don't you wow your audience with the Betty Botter tongue twister?
After. Once it's all dried and there's no liquidy bits left, we need to fill it in. And if you want it to make kind of a cool outline, turn it down just a little bit. So, let's fill it in.
Whoa, you're making a star.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
You can eat it after. Okay, now we need to wait till that is brown. Now we can flip it. Oops. Okay, now that should probably be enough. Now we need to get it on the plate. There. Now, look, there's a little outline. When it works really well on Peppa Pig because you can see her eyes and the outline of her face. And that's how to make a star-shaped pancake.
So tell us about this tongue twister.
Okay, so Mum wants me to say a tongue twister. She can say this one fast, and I can say it as fast as her. It's the Betty Botter one. Betty Botter bought some butter, she says it's butter's bitter. If I put it in my butter, it will make my butter bitter. So she bought some better butter, better than a bitter matter, and I made a butter better.
Betty Butter bought some butter, but she said his eye was better. If she said the hair is better, she will have her teeth better. In the oven, the mouth will cook in the butt.
Betty Butter bought some butter, but she said this butter's bitter. If I put it in my butter, it will make my butter better. Better butter, better butter, in the better, bitter butter. And she made her butter better, better than the bitter butter. Go.
Betty Botter bought some.
Oh, Mummy can't even do it.
He was putting a face. You recording?
Yeah.
I have to cover my eyes because he pulled a face last time. Betty Botter bought some butter, but she said this butter's bitter. If I put it in my batter, it'll be my batter bitter. So she bought some better butter, better than the bitter butter, and I made a batter better.
No.
Uncontested Betty Botter champion.
Contested.
Okay.
What?
Go.
Go reset.
Put the egg in the bowl first. Put the egg in the bowl first. Put the egg in the bowl first.
So now we need to put the egg in the bowl before we do the milk. Oops, ripped a bit. Ripped a lot. Okay, oops. This isn't going out too well. As you can see, this is one of our previous attempts.
Salsa was in the living room.
But don't flip it though.
Oh yeah. Whoops. This isn't the best one.
Go Marcus.
Now we can flip it. Wait, no, we can't. And if you wonder what the Peppa Pig pancake looks like, this is what it looks like.
Hello everyone, welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to be making Ephraim Cakes. To do that, we're going to need some flour, 250 grams, some cinnamon. I've got cinnamon sticks here, so I'll be grinding them up in my pestle and mortar. Takes a long time, but I hope it'll be okay. Some mixed spice, some cubes, 125 grams of butter or lard, a tablespoon of milk, an egg and a few sultanas. Let's see how it goes. So I've got my flour here, as you can see. I've been grinding up the cinnamon, and it's going to taste disgusting anyway, so it's not turned into a powder yet, but I'm going to put it in any case. There's a little bit of mixed spice, very carefully measured. We put in a handful of sultanas, and of course the diced up lard or butter. And then we'll spend a little while just rubbing it in with your fingers. I prefer to do that. It's how my gran taught me to rub the fat into the flour until it becomes sandy. Now unfortunately the cinnamon sticks are all sticking out, and these sultanas are also a little bit lumpy, but we'll come back in a moment when I've finished rubbing in the flour. Now the thing with making Ephraim cakes is it doesn't really matter what you put in it, because they're absolutely revolting. Nobody is likely to want to eat one. You can do whatever you want. So although I put certain ingredients in, if you want to put other ingredients in, you can, because that's just what Ephraim cakes are like. You can just mix up whatever you like into it. No one's going to like it in the end anyway. It's going to be neither one thing nor another. Not a cake, not something tasty to eat. It's not really going to be anything very nutritious or useful. So give it your best shot at putting in whatever you want. Now you might think that there's a certain resemblance to a Welsh cake recipe here. You wouldn't be far wrong, although of course you'd probably use proper ground cinnamon rather than a bashed up piece of cinnamon stick and other proper spices in it, usually butter instead of lard. Well, there we are. My mixture is now a sandy texture with the fat all rubbed in, and it's ready to go with adding something to bind it together, which would be a tablespoon of milk and 1 egg. Till it's bound together. We'll come back in a moment and roll out our dough. Now my Ephraim cake is just about ready. The dough here has been prepared. It's on a lightly floured board, and then just use a cutter, something like this, to cut out some pieces. I like mine quite thick, so I'm going to cut them out here and get them ready to cook.
Turn back to God, all the prophets called. Turn back to God, the one and only Lord. His love is high, His mercy wide. Turn back to God.
Well, as you can see, I've been able to make about 8 Ephraim cakes here. So I'm looking forward to us taking the chance to cook them now. This is my flat stone. You can use a pancake maker, a heavy frying pan to be able to make an Ephraim cake. And I'm just going to put a little bit of fat onto the bake stone, because we don't want them sticking on here, do we? And then the important thing is just to get ready to start cooking them. So I'm going to gently place them onto there so they begin to cook. Now for an Ephraim cake, as you can see, they're starting to sizzle. That's great. So as you can see, my Ephraim cakes are beginning to cook delightfully. Now this is a really important part of the recipe, is that you now have to leave them unattended for a long time. So we'll do that. Leave them unattended now for quite a long time. Okay, they've been cooking for a little while, as you can see, totally unattended. Looks like there's quite a lot of smoke coming off here, and they're doing to absolute perfection for an Ephraim cake, but I think they might still need another few more minutes. Well, I've completely neglected these Ephraim cakes for quite some time now, so we're just going to come back and check that they're done. Of course, one of the most important things is you not only have to neglect them, but they're not... Oh, look at that. Absolutely perfect. Can you see? It's completely burned on one side and totally raw on the other. And there goes the fire alarm to say that dinner's ready. Now, the smoke has started clearing from making the Ephraim cake, so they're perfectly done. As you can see on my plate here. Let me hold that up, I hope you can see. We've got a beautiful burnt side there and completely raw on the other side. Totally inedible if you try to eat it. You'd spit it back out on the plate like I have. So here are my finished cooled Ephraim cakes. There they are. They look absolutely disgusting. Some people think that you can sprinkle them with a bit of sugar and that will cover it up, but honestly these are worthy of totally spitting out. They are so revolting. Burnt on one side, raw on the other. Not even sugar can make them taste nice. Ephraim cakes. You don't want to eat one, and you don't want to be one.
Turn back to God, all the prophets called. Turn back to God, the one and only Lord. His love is high, His mercy wide. Turn back to God.
You're probably wondering why I'm washing up right at the beginning of a baking competition. Well, in fact, I won't be doing much baking today, but I do have a clip from 11 years ago when I was making a bit of Angel Delight or Instant Whip. Yeah,
right, here he goes.
This is making Instant Whip. Now I've already opened it and I'm going to pour it in there. Just tip it in, lots and lots. Get it all out, nice. Then you tip 350 millilitres of milk in there, like that. And then simply whip.
Can I get a close up of that, Steve? Because I think the viewers would be interested in that.
And then you just slosh it round like that.
Yeah.
And then you get it
Great.
round and round.
It's like cement, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just like mixing cement,
Yeah.
And then you just keep turning it.
Yeah, like a pancake.
Yeah. And let it set for 2 minutes. And then it's lovely.
God.
But get rid of all this powdery stuff first. Like that. And keep going round and round and round and round and round.
And you can use it to fill in cracks and stuff as well, can't you, Steve?
Yeah. You can feel it thickening up now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like magic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Angels use it, don't they?
Yeah, angels. It's angel of delight.
This is cooking
While I'm
El
doing this, just have a
Natural.
look at our campsite. There's our tent. Have a look at our kettle. And then there's our kettle
there's
and
the
our
kettle.
stove.
Yeah, and we
Yeah.
just had a cup of tea and we both just had
And
really
the light,
nutritious
and the light
pot
has
and
just
noodles.
come on over there. And by now,
Looks like an omelette, Steve, now.
absolutely
Looks like a
lovely.
strawberry omelette.
Yeah.
Is that how you're going to present it?
Yeah.
Would you present it like that, like
Well,
to a customer or something?
No, I do it like that. It's called,
Would you fold it in?
yeah, it's called strawberry surprise.
Yeah. What's the surprise?
This.
It's never seen a strawberry in its life. It's all E numbers and colouring. Oh, that does look awful.
Nice.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
Oh, that does look awful.
Nice. 10 out of 10.
It's fluffy, tasty, the night is too. You just add milk and then whisk it through. It's delightful, it's delectable, it's the smoothest, it's delightest, it's the limit.
It's a rainy afternoon. I've got a few apples here to make an apple pie. Ta-da! I've got the saucepan on very low now. I'm making my apple crumble and I've mushed it up. It does seem to be a little bit too much water in there, but it's going stewy anyway. So let's see how it is. I better get on with the crumble.
It's fluffy, tasty, the night is too. You just add milk and then whisk it through. It's delightful, it's delectable, it's the smoothest, it's delightest, it's the limit.
Action, chef!
Hello everybody, I don't normally cook, but today I'm going to cook because this is for a great cause, this is for Tearfund. Today I'm going to cook something which is inspired by my favourite movie, which is The Godfather. There is a scene in The Godfather where one of the lieutenants, one of the heads, cooks a spaghetti bolognese for the whole crew. So this is the recipe that we're going to cover today. We're going to need 2 tablespoons of olive oil. We're going to need 1.5, maybe 2 packs if we're feeling particularly generous of sausage meat. We're going to buy the sausages, we're going to take it out of their skins. So there's no skins that are going to be in the sausage. We're going to need 2 cloves of garlic. We're going to use 1 onion. We're going to take a generous helping of Italian red wine, 1 tin of plum tomatoes, half a jar of sun-dried tomato, some basil, some salt, and some sugar. We're going to do 2 bags of spaghetti because we're feeling hungry today. And then what we're going to do is we're going to top that with some nice grated cheese. We would normally use Parmesan, but actually Grana Padano is just as good and is half the price. So that's what we're going to cook for you today.
Go.
So I've just been told by my sous chef that this is not a clove of garlic, this is a bulb of garlic. And so we're not going to use 2 we're not going to use 2 of these because that would blow your face off. So what we're going to do is we're going to use 2 cloves of garlic from this 1 bulb of garlic. Okay. So we're also going to add a special extra. Some tomatoes, delicious, plump and juicy. Thank you very much, Peter Waghorn, for these tomatoes, which we're also going to put into our pot. Okay, So, just one onion. That's all you need. And man said, it won't hurt. It won't hurt. This is a different kind of onion. It won't hurt. Oh, Heavenly Father, why? Okay. So I've prepared all the ingredients. So what we're going to do in a large pot is we're going to heat 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and we're going to do it over a medium heat. We're going to add the sausage. So what I've done is I've removed it from all the casing, good quality sausage, and I'm going to cook it until it's nice and brown, and then I'm going to add the garlic and the onions. So I've done the garlic and the onions in here, and I'm going to stir until the onions are soft for about 6 to 8 minutes, and then we're going to stir in the red wine. Ecclesiastes 9:7. Go, eat your food with gladness, and drink your wine with a joyful heart, for God has already approved what you do. So, any entry that contains wine should be winning this competition. Then we're going to stir in the chopped tomatoes and Peter's tomatoes, which are nicely prepared, and the paste. And then we're going to add water to the paste to swill it out to get all that tomato goodness out. We're going to add that into the pot. And then
Other brands are available.
Other brands are available. And then we've got in here, we've got our basil. And then we're going to add the salt and the sugar to taste. And then we're going to simmer for 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours. So come back in 2.5 hours time. Video me say.
What was that?
I've got no idea, but let's go.
Okay. Go. That looks good, Chef. Tell us more.
It is. So what I've done is I've added the sausage into the olive oil. Listen to that. But I'm a little confused because I wanted a nice Bible verse for this. And so I did a Google search for meat verse Bible, and the search result was, God does not want us to eat meat. Every moving thing that liveth shall be meat for you, even as the green herb have I given you all things. But flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, shall ye not eat.
Good news for vegans.
Let's keep going.
Just ask God for forgiveness later.
So now we're going to add the 1 onion. My eyes are still hurting. And in there somewhere, there it is the clove of garlic. 2 cloves of garlic. So we're going to add that in. And we're going to, my eyes, we're going to, until 8 minutes until the onions are nice and soft. So come back in 8 minutes time.
Chef, that smells really good. Please tell me it's going to be ready in about half an hour.
Sadly not, more like 2.5 hours. So, we're ready?
Yes, Chef.
Right. Okay. And I hope you're videoing, you're not photographing.
Well, yeah, it's running on 18
good.
seconds now, so that's good.
Good. So we're going to stir in the red wine. Here it goes. Goodbye. That might be a bit too much wine. I'm going to leave that as it is. So stir in the red wine. Oh, look at the wine bubbling. I'm going to scrape and get all those gnarly bits off the bottom of the pan.
Hey, you stole that from Jamie
Oliver. Yeah, maybe a bit more. Okay, there we go. I'm going to add the tomatoes, or as they say in America, I'm going to add in the tomatoes.
I'll check that with Cliff and Katie.
We're not going to add all that in. It's far too much paste. So let's add in a couple of generous teaspoons of paste. Maybe a bit. Okay. And then Peter's tomatoes.
Delicious plum.
Tomatoes. And then we do need some water. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get. This is going to cook for 2.5 hours. So I'm going to add a little bit of water and get all the bits out of the. There we go. And then add the basil. There's the basil. Let's add that in, mix that in, and then I'm going to stir it in, and then I'm going to taste it, and then see if it needs salt and sugar.
Careful, chef,
that
careful. You want it in the pan, chef.
So 2.5 hours time, this will be actually pretty smashing. So let's mix it all in. Right, let's get it right. What's it need? Oh, it doesn't need any sugar. Maybe it needs a little bit of salt. See you in 2.5 hours time.
Chef, what about the sugar?
Doesn't need it.
It says on the recipe sugar.
Oh, I'll tell you what. Just because it's got to be on the recipe. There we go. A bit of sugar. There we go.
Thanks, chef.
All right. See you in 2.5 hours time.
Can we have an update, chef?
Sure. So we've got 10 minutes to go. Have a look in the pan and see where we are. So almost done. It's been on for almost 2.5 hours. But come on, look at this spaghetti. You can buy dried spaghetti, but I recommend fresh spaghetti. You can't overcook this, and it takes about 3 minutes on the hob to cook, and it'll be fantastic. So see you in 3 minutes. Okay, so it's time to serve up. Cheese.
Morning, welcome to my kitchen. I'm going to bake some bread today, especially for all those folks living on their own who are hungry, and especially for men who are married to women who don't like making bread and who are desperate for food themselves. As you can see, my bread bin is almost totally empty. I'm very hungry, need something to fill me up. As you can see, I've got great capacity. So I'm going to make some soda bread, which is the easiest, apparently, of the breads to make. Anyway, you start off by getting the ingredients together. You'll need 250 grams of wholemeal flour, 250 grams of white flour, a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda, and at least 420 grams of buttermilk. Those are the basic ingredients. I've already weighed out here the white flour, which I'm going to tip into here. I'm going to add then and weigh 250 grams of wholemeal flour. You might want to stop there, I don't know what. Is that 25 grams or what?
Oh, you didn't turn it. Right. What you did was you didn't turn it on when you started, and you need to do that because
It's too much to remember, see. I can't do it.
It's funny. They're funny scales. They don't. They seem to. Yeah, because you've got more than two. The thing there. Right. Let's start again with that. Oh, it's on. Is it? Was it running now?
After you have your 250 grams of white flour, you weigh up 250 grams of brown flour. There we are, that's perfect. Add the two together. And then you add 1 teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda and 1 teaspoon of salt, and then 420 grams of the buttermilk. Stop there. Okay, when you have 450, I have a personal assistant who tells me that 450 grams makes for better bread than 420. So I've taken a bit of liberty there and put 450 grams of the buttermilk in here. Then you pour it in to mix with the other ingredients. You might have the occasional splash sometimes over you. That's why you have these wonderful this kitchen clothing, just to protect those men who are a bit clumsy in putting these things together. I tell you, if I can do this, anybody in the world can do it. Then you start mixing it up, first of all. Now, first of all, you stir it with a spoon. Unfortunately, for those who don't have the expertise, it all tends to stick to the spoon at first. So you might need a bit of assistance to get it all off the spoon. And for this, my personal assistant may just pass me a teaspoon so I can scrape it all off. And thank you, madam. You know, in a day of equal opportunities and men and women sharing responsibilities, it's very nice to have a female personal assistant to help me with this, to improve my level of competence, shall we say. So you might want to get somebody in to help you with that. Then, because you need you may need extra expertise, I'm going to point you to Paul Hollywood's book, because he shows how you have to mould the bread with your hands and eventually into a ball. So that may take you a little while. So I'm going to work on that, the moulding, and then come back to you in a minute. Now, for men who are a bit clumsy, you might find that this is a little bit of a struggle. This is the toughest part, where you're supposed to mould it. How you mould it when it sticks to your hands is a major challenge for untrained male chefs. But we'll do our best. The key is just to keep persevering at it and keep moulding and rolling until eventually you've got it into a ball. Might take you a few minutes. Just be patient. Now, when I was younger, another chef I used to look at on television was a guy from New Zealand called Graham Kerr, who actually happened to be a Christian, and he was such a fast cook. They used to call him the Galloping Gourmet. What you don't want to do with this is be the Galloping Gourmet. You've got to be patient in rolling it and mixing all the ingredients in. So don't be afraid to take a few minutes. Don't get frustrated if it gets stuck to your big fingers, as it is to mine. There are always personal assistants around that you might want to call on to help to get a little spoon to scrape it off your fingers. But eventually you need to have it into a ball. Right, I'll break there. So. Yes, with a little bit of perseverance, eventually you manage to roll it into a lovely round ball. Get all the flour mixed in. Right, we'll take a break there. After you've rolled it, you cut it in the shape of a cross, and then let it rest for a little while before putting it in the oven to cook for 40 minutes on 180 degrees. Now, it's quite possible to to bake this bread entirely on your own. That's why this is especially for people living on their own, want some bread. Some of you might benefit from having a personal assistant, as I have. Another cook I used to watch when I was younger was a woman called Fanny Craddock, whose husband Johnny was always in the background helping her out. Unfortunately, they eventually got divorced, so it might not be a good model for cooking. You might want to carry on cooking on your own, which is why this is a good piece of bread for somebody living on their own. I'll put it in the oven at 180 now. The bread of God is he who comes down from heaven and gives life to the world. Then they said, please give us some of that bread for life. And then Jesus said, I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never go hungry, and whoever believes in me will never be thirsty. So what Jesus is saying there is that when we come to trust on him as our Lord and Saviour, he guides us and helps us and provides us with a joyful life each day. So just as we rely on bread to feed us physically every day, we go to Jesus and rely on him to give us joy in our lives, life in all its fullness each day. So feed on Jesus as the bread of life. So after 40 minutes, you open the oven to see the bread is done satisfactorily. You take it out and you test whether it's ready by tapping the back, and if it's ready, it should give a hollow sound. Yes, and there was one Welsh hymn writer who was so impressed by the verse in the Gospel of John about Jesus being the bread of heaven, comparing with the bread that we eat. He wrote one of the most famous songs which Welsh people sing, which is bread of heaven, feed me till I want no more. Feed me till I want no more.
So there you have your strawberry shortbread heart. It's good for Valentine's Day, birthdays, but children and adults will love them anytime for a treat. Each other, we can only see the outside, but the Lord can see past all that, so much more as a matter of fact. The Lord does not look at the things man looks at, the Lord looks at the heart. Man looks at the outward appearance, the Lord looks at the heart. The Lord does not
Oh. Hello, I'm Harry Bieber, and I'm Harry Bieber, and I'm making a cake to raise money for Tearfund. The bottom layer is going to be vanilla, the top layer is going to be chocolate, and I'm making a little chocolate tomb for the top. What, are you recording right now?
Yes.
Now. I just put the cocoa powder in, so yeah. Careful. The cakes are in the oven. Really? I'm gonna grease this pot to make the dough. Keep that. Did say we're gonna have bloopers.
So is this to make the tomb, Harry?
Yes, I did say.
Okay.
Except are you still recording? Hope this cake doesn't break.
So what are you doing, Harry?
Basically smothering the Nutella on the cake to make the other cake stick to it.
Okay. Put some more on then.
I'm making grey icing for the cake. This is a marbled quartz or stone or whatever for the tomb, and I'm doing the glass for the top of the cake. I'm going to roll out the glass now. Now it's just sticking to this. Wait, it's not really cool thing. Fine.
You're cutting it, Harry?
Yeah.
What's that, the tomb?
Yeah.
Okay. You're going to cover it first, aren't you, with your icing, Harry?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, with the grey. Right, we're going to do that next.
Okay. He is not here, he is risen.
Welcome to the Baptist Church. Welcome to our bakery. Hello, we're making a welcome for Baptist Church. We're making a love cake with lots of different flavours.
Go.
There's lemon in it, there's strawberry in it, there's apple in it, there's orange in it. Daddy doesn't know how to make a cake, but I do. We need butter, sugar, flour, milk, flour, and eggs. Don't forget the sprinkles, Emma!
How do you make a cake?
In a cake, we put... First, open the butter lid. Oh, that's 4 grams. Now, butter. Milk. And then flour. Then time to crack the eggs. And now it's time for the mixing. I make this bake. I make this cake. Yes. I made the cake yesterday.
You pour it into the tray, in the baking tray.
Into the baking tray. Here, Emma. Thank you. You always must wear gloves because the oven is hot and you might burn yourself. We've got 20 minutes now for it to bake, so
You can do what you like.
you could do whatever you like. You can do your rocking horse, or play with the duplay, or what? Or read books. Or you could read a book like adults.
Or you can do what Jack does.
Or you can march on the ceiling. I'm going to take the cake out now. It's ready! It's ready! Thank you. Look, there's the strawberry. And there's the strawberry! And is there a leftover orange? Here's the orange! Is there a leftover lemon? Here's the lemon! Is there a leftover apple? Here's the apple! Well done! And there's no plum or blueberry left. Love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it does not dishonour others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. It does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always hopes, always hopes, always perseveres. 1 Corinthians
13, 4 to 7.
Bye!